What's up there, merry band of misfits? My name is Tia. Welcome to my channel, Pages of Ascension. Thanks for stopping by. So this is going to be a midweek collective check-in, or midweek check-in for the collective. Blah. Here we go. We're in the midst of it now. So in any case, yeah, this is going to be a midweek check-in. We're going to see where the energies are at for people, for the collective, all of us, 3 to 4 groups. So it's interesting because as I was, as I was shuffling the rune cards, which I forgot last week, sorry about that, I kept hearing gifts. So I don't know what card came out. We'll find out here at the end, but I kept hearing gift. So we'll see how within that comes into play. I am getting the feeling that this week is probably going to be a little bit longer of a reading, because I also felt called to pull out both the Lenormand and the Kipper deck. And, yeah, let's dig in and see what we got going on. So, I went ahead and pulled out the Oracle cards first, since I felt called to do them first this time, and also it saves a little bit of time. So, let's go ahead and look at what we got. So, Wishbone, Affirmation, Flowers, Fickle. Whew, okay. Augur, Mastery. Swear to God, that card's haunting me. And then I'm actually going to wait until the end to flip over this one right here, because I took this one from the bottom of the deck, because I do feel like, and it's interesting, bear with me as I try to quantify this into words. I feel like there are hidden elements, hidden energies, hidden motives. There's something that's not quite visible, and I feel like this is the energy that's going to touch on that, whatever that is. So we're going to save that for later. So that said, let's look at, oh, sorry, should probably show you the cards, huh? Don't clown my nails. Y'all know how it is in the middle of the week. I'm too tired to redo them before I record this. So Wishbone, Affirmation, Flowers, Fickle. Oh, I'm so sorry about the lighting. There we go. Again, it's been a long day. And then we have Augur, which is Mastery. I love this card. It comes out a lot for me. So I've gotten real acquainted with it. It's got many layers to it. So let's go ahead and see what the tarot has to say. Oh, okay, tarot's got to say a whole lot. So if you've been looking for some type of confirmation that you have stepped into a certain type of energy, I feel like this is the confirmation that you have. This is your affirmation, like, you are in this energy of the Queen of Wands. Okay. So perhaps you were having trouble getting into this energy based on what's been going on. Okay. And then we have Exhaustion, Existence, Nine of Wands, Magician, Devil, Fool, Nine of Cups. You've been working very, very hard, my dear. Okay, so for some of you, I feel like there's a new beginning. Okay, 9 is definitely a theme here for y'all, for those that this reading will end up resonating for. And I feel like you're definitely in the midst of turning into this new cycle. But the caveat that I'm seeing here is like, and basically 2 storylines. For some of you, whatever it is that you are trying to manifest now into your daily, it's actually not healthy. It's not going to serve you. So I'm hearing you might want to rethink how you're approaching something. For others of you, I feel like what you are manifesting is a way out of this toxic energy of the devil. And you're realizing exiting this particular energy of the devil or the dynamic that you've been in is actually going to allow you to pursue this new beginning that you have in mind and allow you to get to happiness. Okay? Wish fulfillment. That's interesting. Yeah, I feel like part of the issue for some of you is that you're having a hard time making up your mind. Um, and it's like that saying, mastery doesn't come from indecision. Um, Mastery comes from decisive decision making, and that's what it is that you're requesting out to the universe that you want. You're saying, I want to master something, but not being specific about what it is that you want to master. And as a result of that, again, for some of you, one storyline is that what you are unconsciously trying to bring in is actually toxic for you. It's not moving you forward, it's setting you backwards. And again, that second storyline for others of you, you might just need to get a bit more specific on how you exit this toxic energy. Yeah, be more specific about how you exit this toxic energy, because how you exit has a lot to do with how you begin in this new cycle. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Let's look at flowers. What's the flowers about? Interesting. So I've got control, which is the page. I think that's the Page of Swords. And then, or that's who is coming into my mind, so we're just going to go with that. And then I've got Maturity, which is the Queen of Pentacles. So for some of you, the step up that you're trying to come into actually has to do with something physical and tangible in the world. This doesn't necessarily feel a whole lot like spirituality in a sense. It's the 3D things that you're trying to get a handle on and master that. Like, and to some degree, it is kind of saying with the Queen of Wands popping out as your first that there is some degree of spiritual mastery that you have attained, but what's preventing the ascension or your growth is the 3D things that you're not taking care of, that you're not keeping a tight rein on. There's something that's out of control, and I would say your physical environment that is preventing this growth that you're seeking, okay? Because you're going for the Empress energy here. Queen of Pentacles is the closest to the Empress energy out of all the queens. So, yeah, it's like... Okay, let's look at Mastery here. Can you tell me about the Augur? Mastery. Okay, we've got Nightmare, Nine of Swords, Fighting, Celebration. You know, it's interesting. For some of you, it almost feels like, I'm hearing fighter party. Like, I literally was kind of searching for something else there. But, that's kind of the choice that you have ahead of you right now to master. So actually what it kind of feels like is, for some of you it very well could be this idea of work life balance. For others of you it is learning to manage like aggression with happiness, or to balance the two. So what I kind of mean by that, and this is something that I've just noticed, but like people are very, very uncomfortable with people being unhappy. Like, here's the thing about anger. Anger is an expression of something that's not being met. Okay? That is what it comes down to. I don't think it's something to be scared of per se, unless of course there's like actual physical violence involved, and even then I'm going to say protect yourself versus sit there in fear. Okay? But I feel like anger specifically, it's a need that's not being met. Okay? You meet the need, the anger disperses, or it leaves. It's almost like a buildup of energy. Oh shoot, I lost it. It almost feels like somebody who's fighting happiness too. Like some of you out there have been asking the question, is it possible to master happiness? Like, is that a thing? I'm going to say, yeah, that's a thing. And part of some of you, I feel like the nightmare is that you're never going to master the things you need to in order to be happy. Like, there's that fear there. That's what keeps you up at night. That's what keeps you fighting. That's what prevents you from getting into a celebratory state and allowing yourself the happiness to just breathe and be. Okay, it's interesting. Let's bust out the clarifiers. There's more here. For some of you too, and this is feeling more like, say a student of some sort, whether that's like you've reached the end of how far you can go within your education or within your particular subject matter of mastery, and there's some sadness behind that because you feel like you've hit a ceiling. So you're fighting letting yourself be happy and grateful for the conclusion of what you've done, of what you've the accomplishment that you've made by actually finishing. So say like, we could be talking like a PhD candidate or whatever, and you find out, oh hey, like I've been approved or whatnot, I get my PhD, or we could even say master's thesis. I don't really know what happens after the master's degree, so bear with me here, but say it's like that, you've reached like the edge of what you can do with pursuing a certain path, and the only thing really left to do is to just kind of like keep up on the trends, but you can't necessarily go any higher. Okay, you could almost equivalent it to like the person who, let's just say they find a master cure to the flu. How do you top that? I mean, that's a pretty big accomplishment. Okay, so there is that energy going on here as well. I feel like for those of you that this student storyline is applying to, you've been very controlled. You've grown as a person. You've definitely matured as a person through this process of pursuing this path. You're definitely exhausted, as I imagine someone would be going all the way to a PhD. And yeah, it's almost too like you're looking for permission to rest. You're looking for permission outside permission saying, hey, you don't have to try so hard anymore. You don't have to think so hard anymore. You don't have to like drive and pursue this and, run head first into this anymore. You've met the accomplishment. It's like it hasn't registered for some of you out there that, yo, homie, I'm done. I don't have to do this anymore. I can actually put what I've learned into practice type of thing. That's interesting. And there may be some indecision about what to do next. We're going to look more into that. So yeah, it's interesting. The archetype that a lot of you seem to be working with right now is the Queen of Wands, which is like my favorite of all of the archetypes. And I'm out of the court cards for sure. So the Queen of Wands not only knows her worth, she doesn't question it. She's very intuitive. She's very insightful. She sees the unseen. I mean, if we're looking at who the closest court card would be to the High Priestess, it would most definitely be the Queen of Wands, which kind of explains why I like her, because I really like the High Priestess. But that's the energy that you're in. She's a manifester. I would even go so far as to say a master manifester. She thinks it and it's there. Right? And that ties in very much to you needing to decide which direction that you want to go. It's hard to manifest something if you don't know what you're manifesting, right? Yeah, it's time for you to sow your seeds. And I'm not necessarily seeing anything here that says like you're running on a clock right now, and realistically time it's a human construct. It's kind of an illusion. Like, timing as we see it doesn't necessarily matter in this scenario, okay? Again, like I said, it does feel a lot more 3D-ish versus like spiritual in nature, what I'm picking up, but there doesn't mean that there isn't a tie there. So what I'm finding interesting is that your new beginning is sandwiched between two endings. So it's not one thing that you need to get rid of. Okay, two is definitely a theme now. I'm seeing it. Yeah, so your new beginning is sandwiched between two endings. So for some of you, it might be coming into this balance between overworking yourself and then being so lazy that you do nothing. They're basically the extremes of each other. Someone who overworks versus someone who don't do nothing. All right, let's just keep that real. What I am seeing is that it's time to sow the seeds of what you want, of what you really want, what you've really like poured your energy into, which you've like, I'm thinking blood, sweat, and tears, something you've really, really, really been working on. I mean, look at that. This character on here is effectively watering this acorn seed with their blood, okay? Their life force. I feel like so it's interesting because I'm getting some weird stuff off of this devil card. So in this scenario, for those of you that this is, sounding real familiar, like I'm a fly on the wall, there's some type of conditioning. This is the devil card. I mean, they call it conditioning because effectively that's what the devil is. Like, we act based on autopilot and what we've been taught necessarily, instead of thinking for ourselves. And of course, that is a gross oversimplification, but hear me out here. So this devil energy that you're dealing with is your block. What is it that you are holding on to that needs to go? I feel like at this point, if it's not obvious, it's going to become very, very obvious to you what it is. And it has to do with something. So it has to do with something that you've been, I'd almost say, doing since childhood. Like, it's so ingrained in your world and in your life that you don't even realize that it's a conditional habit that's actually preventing your growth, preventing your movement forward. That's what stands between you and this new beginning that you're seeking. Violets. I don't actually know what the... Yeah, I don't know. Or wait, no, excuse me. That's a morning glory. Okay, so for some of you, morning glory is a synchronicity. That might be something for you to look into. And then, of course, ivy as well. If you think about how ivy grows, like, it's obnoxious as fuck in the Pacific Northwest. I know, I need my swear jar. But really it is. Like, once it's established in the area, I mean, this shit is persistent. Its roots go deep. It climbs walls. It can go into rocks. I mean, this is literally vegetation meant to outlast every single human out there, just based on how it procreates itself. You can break a piece off and it'll root. It's very similar to Himalayan blackberry, right? So that's interesting that in the context of what I'm picking up in this reading, that's what came up. I mean, number one, ivy is a very, very strong, it's a strong plant. It is. But in the same sense, it's also invasive. So I wonder if part of the conditioning that you've been carrying with you that is blocking your growth is this need to be strong all the time. Something comes at you and breaks you, you say fuck that, you reroot and you try again. They break again, screw that, you root and you try again and again and again and again and so on and so forth. It speaks to persistence. Now, even in regards to persistence, you have to keep in mind that, my favorite saying anyway, gotta learn when to hold and learn when to fold, alright? Sometimes you can be so persistent in something that you just completely lose sight of the goal itself. I can definitely, use myself as an example here, and I'll say college. Like, I was on my way into grad school, for a master's of science, and there had been so much that had gone on just that year, the last couple years, that, and so many disappointments in pursuing the initial path that I wanted to, that I had kind of forgotten why I was there. But I was in the process of, finishing the degree. That's what you do. That's life. That's the blueprint, right? So here I am thinking, like, why the fuck am I here? Why am I doing this? This is so interesting. I just had this conversation with someone the other day. That's nutty. In any case, I'm thinking, like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? And, there was never really an answer that came to me. It's like, because that's what you do. You go to school, you get a good job. That good job gets you out of poverty. You get a house. You have 2.5 kids. If you're lucky enough and you can actually find someone who's not a fuckboy, you get married. You know what I mean? Like, this whole progression of, like, life and what it's supposed to be. All right. And I'm feeling like for some of you out there anyway, you've been persisting and you don't know why you're persisting, because you're ready to pour your intent, your energy, your life force into something else, something that brings you more meaning, something that you feel like is more divinely supported than where you are. I use school as the example, but it may not necessarily be that, okay? Pick how it resonates for you in your life. But yeah, morning glories. I'm actually going to look that up and I'll pin that to the top of the comments, what I find, and I'll leave a link to the website that I go to, or websites, best one. And of course, like I did when I remembered to use the rune card, I'll also do that for the rune card. Hot diggity, we're at 25 minutes. I said it was going to be a long one. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Can you tell me about fickle, maturity, and control? I guess it just did. So, oh, okay. So the fickle energy that you are experiencing, for some of you that you're experiencing, I feel like that has to do with you integrating. And I say that because we've literally got the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles on the board. Okay? But I'm not picking up love in this at all, even though there's a rose in the card. This does not feel like love. This feels like integration of self. And I'm going to go back to the school analogy because it's super easy. And it's been a long day. So, let's go high school for this. So you turn 18, you graduate school or don't graduate school, whatever. You become an adult. Okay? And it's like merging the responsibility of becoming an adult, but not at the same time not losing those useful things that make you you. Okay, it's learning to bridge those two, to still have fun, don't lose your inner child, don't forget about your inner child, but at the same time, step into the roles and responsibility that are necessary to be an active participant in the society that we have created. I'm not going to go down the Matrix stuff. We're not going there. I'm keeping it super simple here, okay? But it's learning to bridge those two energies. So I feel like there's, in some areas, you're being a little bit too controlling. And this might be because wherever you were previous to now, whatever step you were at in your world, in your life, you had the ability to be in control of all that. Maybe this is something as simple as someone who was once a CEO of a company, and for whatever reason that company doesn't exist, they sold it, whatever it is, but they have to go from being the CEO running a company to someone who can go and do whatever the hell they want and not have to go to board meetings. Like, learning to bridge those two things, not losing that, okay, be a responsible adult, make decisions and be shrewd about it, but also learn to have fun. So it's learning to balance being mature and making good decisions, and learning when you don't have control over a situation, and when it's not in your hands what happens. Learning to come to terms with that, basically. Effectively, it's shadow body, light body. Let's move on. Okay, let's look at Augur. Mastery, celebration, fighting, and sorrow. Tell me about this pile, please. Okay. And give me a little bit more. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, some of you might have recently picked up meditation, and what you found is like, while beautiful. Okay. So what you've been experiencing in meditation, bear with me, y'all. It's going to be a rough couple weeks with this Mercury retrograde shit, okay? So some of you have recently picked up meditating, and you've realized, like, that you'd been fighting emotions, like fighting, grieving over something that no longer is, needing to purge that energy out. This is what the meditation is helping you to do. For some of you, this is a recent practice, and you get to a state within your meditation that you start to cry within the meditation, whether it's a guided meditation or you're just listening to the beach or whatnot, or the rain. For some of you, it really could be the rain. In any case, this is a pattern that you're noticing in your meditation, and some of you are like, what the it's natural. It's okay. Just let it purge out. Okay. For others of you, you've been actually meditating for some time and you've attained some type of mastery. You can very easily get yourself into a space of being centered. However, there, even for you, I feel like there's still some purging going on. It's something to do with the higher heart chakra. And learning to love despite learning to keep your center, despite learning to operate from a place of really unity consciousness. Because, I mean, it's not so much in this first pile, but it is in the second pile, this idea of it has to be either an or and not the unity of both. And ultimately what we're aiming for is unity consciousness, or sometimes called Christ consciousness, and that stems from a place of love. Okay, I mean, look at this. Okay, for some of you, roses, sorry, I forgot to put it on silent. Roses might be a synchronicity for some of you. Some of you quite literally might have a thing for oak trees. We've got the ivy thing appearing again. So it could be like this the persistence that you've been putting your energy into, you've been misdirecting. So instead of persisting in whatever energy this is, whether it's exhaustion due to overwork, whether it's being lazy and not working enough, persisting in love is where you need to be, or from your heart space, your higher heart space. This is potentially something you need to be directing your energy towards versus these things over here. Love is really the epitome of unity consciousness. Like, let's just, I mean, it's the highest vibration in the world. Unity consciousness is this idea of one of the highest consciousness states in the world, right? World, bear with me, okay? So I feel like that's coming into play. So for some of you, you actually might need to go hiking. I feel like for some of you, hiking is a big part of how you get centered. It's how you connect with your third eye, how you connect with your voice, how you connect with that higher chakra, higher heart chakra. It's how you get centered. Go when it's raining. Please, if it's safe. Don't go if it's not safe when it's raining. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of grief. So I actually don't think I need to pull out the Lenormand or the Kipper. This actually seems fairly straightforward, if not a tad bit long-winded. So, yeah, those are the themes that we've come to. Many of us have come to in the middle of the week. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so let's look at this last card here, and see what we've got. Decision. What did I say about needing to make a decision? So, yeah, for some of you, there is a heavy decision on your plate, or that's weighing on your mind. And that's causing a lot of this instability that you may be experiencing, this polarity that you're dealing with. I mean, it's quite literally in every single, damn, you got 3 9s on the board. Hold on, let me see if there's another one. 12, 3, okay. Yeah, this is like major endings coming into play, and there's some degree of grieving that's going on for this, but I feel like in order to exit whatever cycle you're in, and this is for likely the primary, the major, bigger group of people who come across this reading and resonate with it, for you, there's a decision that needs to be made because that's how you're going to break this cycle of polarity, of bouncing back and forth that you've been in. Interesting. I might end up going back and rewatching this one, even though I already did my spread. Okay, so our rune card for the next 7 days as we work through these energies. Oh, it's Chickenfoot! It's Algiz. This is probably my favorite rune card. It's a card of protection more than anything else. It's a card of luck. It's beautiful. So, okay, let me pop in the rune book real quick. Like I said, we're learning this together. For those of you who didn't watch the other one, we're learning this together. So, ain't no shame in my game reading out the book. Anywho, so, protection, security, signals a zone of protection or a guardian. Leverage this defense to a good effect or rest in security. The shape of Algiz appears like antlers off a deer. Male deer, that's interesting, use antlers to protect themselves and to prove their worthiness to mate. Antlers are shed yearly. They grow as the buck grows. We cut up and sharpen fallen racks to use as weapons. They are also displayed in the house as a symbol of our prowess. Algiz is a sign of protection. How good are we at protecting those we love and the things we own? Interesting. So I will try to find the website that I like to go to for the explanation of runes. Because it goes a little bit more in depth, especially for those of you that might have recently become attracted to the runes. Yeah. Holy shit, y'all. You got the 369 rule quite literally on the board. You have 3 9s, 2 3s. Is that a 6? 2 6s. Holy cow. So for those of you that are not familiar with the 369 rule, I'm not going to explain it here. I'm going to encourage you to go on your own Google NATO and go look it up because it's fascinating. It's going to take hours. Make sure you get some coffee and ain't got nothing else to do. Okay. So anyways, we're going to call that here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've made it this far into the video, I'd appreciate a like. Go ahead and share if you think that this video will be useful for those around you, and subscribe because there's legit more where that came from. Okay, so love for each and every one of you. Remember, your peace is your power, and I will check you next time.